Welcome, 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 everyone, to another Universal Citizens live webcast. How's everybody doing today? So we are having a little bit of technical gremlin influence, and we've had to switch to the old cellular instrument of doom and connection. So we had some things planned, but because of technical delays, we're going to go ahead and spin the wheel of callers. So Robert, I would like everyone to raise their hand for those that want to have a conversation with just me today. David is traveling today to the wonderful lands of beauty. So Robert, how is it going today?
Doing good in my section of the woods. It's clear, or it's partially overcast here in Columbia, and a constant 60 degrees.
And that's Bogota, Colombia.
Just outside of Bogota in a small town called Cogua. Tiny town of 22,000 people and a lot of dogs on the streets.
Beautiful. All right, everyone. So I want you all to exercise your capacity inside that Zoom chat room to raise your hand, because we are going to right away open that wheel of callers line and see who wants to have a conversation. Robert, who do we have in the wheel of
space bar problems here? Shaman's hand is raised. Let's see what Shaman has to say today.
Shaman, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hi, where are you calling from today?
Nebraska.
Nebraska, welcome to the show. What kind of conversation do you want to have today?
I'd like to have a reading.
Like to have a reading. All right. What year were you born?
1955.
1955. So what questions did you want to have to ask me?
My current mission seems to be complete. I was wondering what was in store for the future.
When you say complete, what makes you think that mission's complete?
Well, I've been kicked off about every platform there is. LinkedIn or Facebook twice. LinkedIn, blah blah blah.
So what was that mission?
To determine what the truth was.
For yourself or for many people?
For everyone.
Well, that's the thing with everyone in truth. Everyone has a different perspective of what the truth is. And this polarized world we live in, sometimes we create these unachievable missions, like telling truth to everyone. There are some people who can never hear that truth, and that's their bubble of reality that they're stuck in. And when one ends up getting removed from platforms for whatever reason, well, that doesn't mean your mission's over. It just means you have to change your relationship with the truth and understand that you can no longer start preaching to the people who don't want to listen. That's usually what gets you, deplatformed.
Well, yeah, I had 5,000 users or 5,000 Facebook friends and an audience of anywhere from 25 to 800 videos. So I had a few people that agreed with me.
So you had a few people that are interesting. Well, it means you got to change your relationship. There are plenty of other platforms to go on that you won't get kicked off of. And then, there are some places that the type of content you're trying to produce that's not the platform's thing. I broadcast on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch. Okay? But I also don't have a divisive commentary, scenario. How much of your commentary has, divisive nature to it?
All of it.
So where's the middle ground in your content?
I don't know. I guess that's what I'm asking you.
Well, that's what I'm trying to help you understand in your reading, that your content has to have a middle ground. Otherwise, you find yourself that what you look at all the time looks back at you. All those dark things that tend to create dirty light within inside a person. Okay? How many hours a month were you on the social media platforms?
Dirty light. Could you explain how many hours was I on the social media platforms? 24/7.
Okay. So when did you take a break, and when were you doing stuff that wasn't that mission? You weren't.
About a month ago.
Okay. And this month that you've had off, what have you discovered?
Just been kind of relaxing. I managed to postpone 5G with the help of my friends and a prayer to the Arcturians. So it's now no longer a 1 year deadline. It's now a 2 year deadline.
Oh. So what has it done for you not being on those platforms? Do you feel like you're missing it?
Oh yeah, I miss all my friends.
Okay.
Kind of lonely, but the what's the word? The solitude is always productive. I always have plenty to do, plenty of research to do.
Yeah, but life is not about researching. Life is about enjoying it with other people too, and having other researchers you can connect to, which is what made you a truth warrior in the beginning.
Can't argue that.
So my advice for you is to lay down the sword of the truth warrior for a while. You can't be a warrior for truth. You cannot be a warrior for truth anymore. And let me help you understand why. The world's not ready for that. The world is not ready for that truth. Okay? The world is not ready. Okay? But it is ready for other things. Okay?
Okay. I'm open to suggestions.
So this time that you're not on a platform, you can still produce content. You can go to the infinite amount of ancient mysteries out there and do a documentary on 1, 2, or 3. Pick any other topics that aren't divisive, that are just educational journeys and purposes, so that the creative you has an outlet. Right now, I can hear in your voice and read in your frequency, you've taken on so much of the social justice, social warrior aspect of force educating everyone. Your energy is being rejected in general, whether you're truth or not. Your light is too intense for people, or it represents an authoritarian energy that they don't want to be a part of, even though you're not intending to be authoritarian. You're informing. And there are some people, no matter what you do, and you inform them their reality and the bubble is wrong, they don't accept that right away, and they reject that energy, which you've seen thousands and thousands of times. You can't waste your effort, your good effort, and your good work and having an impact on those people who are outright rejectionists. And unfortunately, social media networks, they're engaging that. They're meant to put you in the rejectionist scenario where you're constantly fighting for followers and this and that. Okay?
Yeah.
You gotta understand how to cut your internet time and start giving back to yourself. It's time to reconnect to the joy of prayer. Okay? And to truly learn what the joy of prayer is solely for you. Because you've given so much prayers and so much work for everyone else, trying to get everyone to wake the fuck up. And they're not waking up. They're all still hungover. They're partying their ass off. Okay?
Bread and circuses.
So it's not even about red pill or blue pill anymore. The pills aren't going to do jack shit to them. It's pharmacopoeia nation. They're all pilled out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay? When's the last time you've had anyone do any form of body work on you?
Never.
You need to do that.
Nobody within 500 miles that would know how to do that.
Bullshit. And I'll call bullshit every time. I've had 10,000 plus public callers. Everyone has the people that can do it. You're just not allowing anyone. Come on.
Are you kidding? I live in the stupidest town in the stupidest state in the stupidest country.
Doesn't matter. There are plenty of practitioners worldwide. If you've never done it, how would you know it's not going to help you?
I appreciate the advice. That's the first thing I'll look into.
Yeah. Okay. And you got to be looking into why you've denied yourself that too. I can guarantee you, you can go and get a handful of massages and a couple of float tanks. Your whole life's going to look different.
Yeah, I denied that myself because I've never experienced it.
And you think it's time?
I absolutely do.
There are plenty of other healers and people out there that have intense light too that can help you.
Thank you.
Yeah. When's the last time you've done any form of colon cleansing or parasite cleanse?
Never. Other than right frequencies.
No, that's not enough. That takes care of maybe 15 to 20% of the background mycelius. Okay, Dr. Hulda Clark, you ever heard of her?
No.
She has a special parasite cleanse that's out there, Dr. Hulda Clark, Hulda, Hulda Clark. The best parasite cleanse in the world. Okay? When you're on the internet a lot, microorganisms in your intestinal tract go off the hook crazy. It's just a background effect of all of that electromagnetic radiation stimulating those microorganisms to grow.
Does Organite help for
This
that?
goes for HuldaClark.com, HULDA, Dr. Clark's store. Just type in Hulda Clark and it'll take you right to her store. About $80. It's a month-long cleanse. It's an ass kicker. And I'm serious, an ass kicker of a cleanse, but it is the best parasite cleanse that exists.
Yeah.
You ever done a flip?
Organite. Are you familiar with that?
Yep, quite familiar. I build my own, and instead of using resin, I use beeswax.
I wear a necklace.
Okay. So the unfortunate part is when you're using resin, when you're dealing with high intensity entities, a lot of times they can get locked into the resin, and it makes it very difficult to impossible to clear those things. By using all natural resin.
I play removal of troll energy, and it's protected me more than you can imagine. You're aware of that. It's your mantra.
Yeah, I understand what I created it for, and you got specific. You dealt with a lot of trolls.
Yeah. It's kept me safe. It's kept me safe from the townspeople, and done some healing, and keeps all the demons away whenever I boot up my operating system.
Mm-hmm. Well, you ready to completely redo your energetic operating system now that you've off of the different platforms? Because you did open yourself to forms of attack when you were offline.
I did. Can you go into more detail? Can you go into more detail?
When you're, how many people in a day would you fight with on an average?
You mean offline?
Yeah, offline or online, that doesn't matter.
Only one.
Okay.
That's
all it takes.
Not fighting with her so much as, well, it is fighting with her. She's deep into pharmaceuticals. And, I mean, she's taking like 10 of them. Yeah. It's like I'm trying to explain to her how bad that is for her.
Uh-huh. That's not going to stop her.
No. I told her just last night that I'd given up on her.
Okay. Those are portals. Those are all portals. Portals that you need to learn how to close each and every day because they open back up on their own. Okay? Because you've been doing what you've been doing for so long.
Could you go into more detail?
The journey that you've been on, the social justice, the self-educating, the putting yourself out there, constantly force educating everyone, has now turned around and bit you in the back, literally. What was your purpose, what your form has now ended because you were constantly engaging something that didn't want to be engaged energetically. And you feel like part of you is in rejection, though part of you is in a new form of creation. You got to see yourself as going into what I call egg time, where you're inside there reformulating, replanning, and redoing. And understand you're still a content creator. You just got to stop doing the divisive content.
Divisive content. Okay, I appreciate
that. It doesn't matter, No more vaccine demands. No more whatever it is that's getting you into getting deplatformed.
Right. Yeah. Well,
don't engage in the politics.
The list of things that are getting deplatformed is too long to mention. But politics, I never deal with.
Okay. The journey ahead of you is not difficult. It just is going to represent a radical change from the way you did things in the past to the way you'll do. The way in the past hasn't worked. And it's showing you now because you...
It has worked. I feel very successful at what I've accomplished, and I don't feel bit in the back end at all. I feel quite satisfied with what I've done, but I do appreciate that.
You asked me for a reading, and I'm giving you what I'm feeling and your energy feeling. I'm feeling duplicity, duality. That
Right.
You may say you're all right with it, but your ego isn't, your heart isn't, your soul frequency isn't. There's all sorts of people that you want to connect on those platforms, and you can't.
Right. All right.
Huh?
Thank you for that. Thank you very much.
You really have to do some deep inner work, soul searching on this.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
You really got to do that intestinal cleanse so you can start with a clean slate.
Absolutely.
Without a clean slate, you're gonna keep re-experiencing the things that come up over and over again for you.
Okay. Thank you very much for everything you shared.
Yeah. It's time for you to get into a deep healing journey, brother. Deep healing journey. And you're going to have to explore the word, what selfish means to you. Because there's a part of you who has been giving yourself away and away and away and away. You don't even understand the term selfish anymore. And the slightest giving to yourself you think is selfish when it isn't. Okay? You got to learn to give to yourself, truly give to yourself joyful, thoughtful emotions, new experiences. You got to be willing to let go of the trials and tribulations of the past and clear them out, as if throwing an old pot of soup out and starting over.
Right. Yeah, I grew up as
Yeah.
preacher's kids, so everything that you're mentioning is all foreign to me. So thank you very much.
Okay. All right, brother, I got to let you go and move on to my next caller, but thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful, wonderful day. Have a wonderful life. Thank you so much for what you've done.
All right, man, you take it easy.
All right.
All right, Robert, spin the wheel of callers.
Okay, next caller is Georgina. Georgina, you're now unmuted.
Georgina,
Hello.
are you there? Hello, where are you calling from today? Where are you calling from today?
I'm calling from Forbes, New South Wales, Australia.
Forbes, New South Wales, Australia. Welcome to the show, Georgina. What did you want to talk about today?
First question would be a little on my galactic DNA and soul family origin.
Mm-hmm. All right, what year were you born?
1964.
Hold on, let me scan. So you're technically Illusion. How familiar are you with the galactic history?
A little.
Galactic.
I study quantum astrology and traditional astrology, and I'm very nervous. Sorry, my heart's going 1,000 miles an hour.
Okay.
And traditional astrology.
Okay, so what I'm referring to, that doesn't have anything to do with any of those aspects. So the world you came from is called Elosia or Ilona, and that is the divine feminine that is in competition with Earth. So it's another celestial planet that has its own version of things. And the best way to describe it, I talked about this in the Galactic History series, some of the hours I did after the 20-part series. So Earth had been in a energetic, celestial, we'll just say, arrangement with Saturn, and it didn't go the way that Earth wanted it. So it left the solar system, and Saturn was very upset and tried to lure Earth back. But Saturn had replaced Earth with another planet called Ilona, which became Saturn's wife in the energetic frequencies, and it became a feminine competition to Earth. Now, you left that world about 37 million years ago, right about when the main competition between Earth and Ilona, that other feminine planet, was coming. Is it fair to say that this particular lifetime you've got a lot of issues with women in competition with you?
Yes, most definitely.
Like to the level you're like it really makes you ask yourself, what the fuck? Why can't women be normal around me?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's why. So this frequency that when you discover that Earth has competition, divine feminine competition, what form of competition is that? Is who can create more light? Whose light is more intense? Whose light can attract more frequencies? You have a very divine, very intense light that both a lot of women and men have, let's say, tried to diminish your light, siphon your life force. Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's been a long, ongoing battle for you, hasn't it?
Yes.
Okay. So let me help you here. When I discover people who have these intense form of celestial competition energy, it's still a self-love issue when we're allowing the celestial forces to create things for us. Celestial forces help us understand motives and the endurance it takes to get through emotional issues that may be triggered by the planet. Right now, your individuated light is an earth-based light, but so much of your teaching, what you have learned as a higher frequency soul, comes from the competitionary side of the Alona planet, which is how to use divine sensuality to do healing. And sensuality does not have to have a sexual component to it. It is how much love can come through a touch, like a mother's touch on the side of the baby's face, or the male lover touching the female lover on the shoulder in a grasp of emotion and holding of energy. That also is another message of transference. And you have that power in your touch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that energy is always in your frequency, and it can freak out men and women who aren't ready for touch that can melt a heart.
Yes.
Okay, do you feel a lot of people rejecting your touch?
Not so much my touch, but more my physical presence within their space.
Okay. Okay, so what are some of the things that you experience competition-wise? What are some of the traumas you've experienced from other women?
I'm generally excluded from group activities, or I don't get invitations.
Mm-hmm.
I'm told that I suppose.
And this has made you a bit of a hermit now, hasn't it?
On and off, I've started traveling and getting involved in shamanic tools because I work in the area of crafting metals and weaving. I'm a jewelry maker.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How long have you been making jewelry for?
Since 2003. I started I had a mini breakdown and found myself weaving, I suppose you would call them ancient Peruvian style necklaces.
Mm-hmm.
And then I extended into beadwork and bead embroidery, and I've recently added clay and metal smithing.
Mm-hmm. And how are you selling this stuff?
I've established myself in Australia as an artist, and my work is sold in galleries, and I teach classes on wand lore and feather smudge tools.
Okay. So you've been doing it a while and you've got a level of success at it.
Yes.
Well, my advice for you is to shine your light brighter and brighter and brighter until such a time that your your light is so bright with your creationary powers that life is going to change for you. And as I said before, there are a lot of people trying to diminish your light and siphon your life force. And similar to the other caller, you know, for you, it's, you have to really go and cut out the energy cords of the people in the past who have no influence over your life now. Like when I'm scanning your energy field.
I've been doing your
Like
revocations daily.
Well, that's a great start, but you have to learn to become laser focused. Like in your energy field now, there's some people from your mid-20s and 30s who somehow still have a significant, I don't know, connection to you. For you feel that that something hasn't been identified in them, or you can't. You need confirmation or affirmation or validation or something from them. You keep looking to them for an experience that they're not going to give you.
Yeah. I'm not sure who they are. I've recently returned to the place that I grew up in, Central Australia, after living in the capital city of Melbourne for the last 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
I felt the Lachlan River calling me here.
Okay. That's kind of how the way weird things work. So, did you just shut that off?
Sorry?
Okay. So, I was just saying, could you just shut that off? Anyway, so my advice for you is to shine brighter and brighter and brighter. Turn more into your art. Make sure you delve into your business. And understand, business connections can become friendships when you learn how to accurately allow them. There are some times that people just want to touch your artistic light. And, you know, you'll have to learn to turn your light on slow with some people. And other people shine your light real bright. Okay?
Yeah. Andrew, is there anywhere I can go to read about Ilona or Elosia, did you say?
No. See, this is something from the Galactic History series, the 180 hours I did after Galactic History when I was doing shows afterwards. So it'll be in that bunch of shows. What I can do is I can ask Andre, and I'll put a link inside the conversation for this video when it goes onto YouTube.
Yes.
I talk about it a bunch of I talk about it a bunch of different times as people wanted to know why the solar system was teleported so many times, because it was trying to get the right celestial community there.
Okay. All right. I did watch the full Galactic series. I have one last question. I don't want to hold you up. In relation
Sure.
to my family in Ireland.
Uh-huh. And what about them?
Oh, I just if you see anything or feel anything in relation to them, my biological family in Ireland.
Are you not connected to them anymore?
No, my family migrated out here during the potato famine as merchants.
Okay, so you grew up in Australia and you're just trying to discover about the lineage that might still be there?
Yes, I'm Brian Baru is one of my ancestors, and also the Cormac Connell, I think his name is, the two main tribes or clans that I come from.
Okay, but you don't know what specific ones you come from.
I know that they are those two. I've done my ancestry and my DNA, and a little bit First Nations people, but I only have something like 5 or 6%, and I don't know anything about that at all. My family has no idea where that came from.
I'm just scanning here. So in Ireland, you know, lineage-wise, when I compare to what's there in Ireland to what's in you, the lineage is radically different. Radically different. And it's happened in the last 2 generations And it's not about other DNA pools coming in. It's the difference in souls coming in and changing the actual karmic resolution of the lineage itself. Because the lineage was a big part of repopulating certain ancestral value areas, because the Irish people hold a lot of, let's just say, Egyptian resolution. The Irish and Egyptians are very close in some of their belief systems, and in my cosmology, they're directly connected by underground tunnels that connect Ireland to the Giza pyramids, multi-dimensional fast travel tunnels. So, and then the 40 years in the desert that the Israelis, the Israelites did, and they were actually going through Ireland as part of that too. So the lineage that left is completely different than the lineage that is still in Ireland. You still have blood relations, but energetically they're completely two different lineages. And when I see this is about lineage split off, so that the oldest souls in the group become the elders of the clan, the nation, the tribe, so on and so forth, and begin to teach through education, which is what you're doing now, making sure that a holistic approach is looked at, such as the smudging, the work that you're doing, following an artistic craft and possession, and having creativity flow through you. Okay? There's a part of you that
is, sorry.
There's a part of you who still feels like you're an immigrant. And this goes back to being as a soul.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there are many people who have moved to countries, and 30 years later, they still don't feel like they're a part of the country. You ever met people like that?
Yep, I have.
The soul can do the same thing.
Okay.
And this is where you, as the I am, have to tell the soul, I live here, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. We need to evolve this energy so I'm not rejected by people because of the type of light that there is anymore. The soul itself is transferring this illusion light into you to create resolution, because the soul doesn't know how to resolve it. That's why it's given to you as a set of issues to overcome in a lifetime through free will. You obviously know how to love yourself enough to get through these disappointing times where people are letting you go, because you still create art.
I do. I don't stop. It's the only way I can process the world.
Right. It's self-healing and self-nurturing at a different level for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
You really got to go into what I call an inner dialogue with the higher soul about the type of light it's channeling through you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That it's channeling through you. You got to come into a lot more balance and harmony with the light that's in this solar system. This one now, not the light of another solar system.
Mm-hmm. I have no conscious memory of that.
So you may not have a conscious memory of it, but you still do have a memory of it. You just don't know how.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't know how.
Bing.
Yeah. All right, darling, I got to let you go and move on to my next caller.
Okay, thank you, Andrew.
Thank you so much. Hey, Robert.
Okay, thank you, Georgina. Next caller will be Jennifer Crow. Jennifer, you're unmuted.
All right.
Jennifer. Hey, Jennifer. Where are you calling from today?
I'm calling from Homer, Alaska.
Homer, Alaska. Welcome to the show. What questions did you want to ask today?
Okay, maybe you can help me clarify the question, but I guess in the notes that I've written here and tuning in, I've been thinking about this, working towards shifting my vibration again, my resonant vibration, my mind state that I've done in the past. I had a massive shift happen about 6 years ago, and then I was dropped heavily down to experience this massive contrast between light and dark, the love and fear. And I'm currently wondering about this, and I know my mission here on Earth is to help co-create this new timeline, the new experience of the world. I started a shamanic healing process when I was about 17 that, anyways, I'm coming full circle to this, raising my vibration and tuning back into my co-creative abilities. And what I'm wondering is that I'm experiencing this space in my physical body that has not been able to keep up with my soul growth and my soul in general. And so I've got heavy metal toxicity, and then also my thyroid has been giving me problems, and my eyes. And so what I'm wondering is about this shift is that I'm anchoring myself and creating this new connection into the true source, true earth, my true authenticity. And I'm wondering about the growth of the shift of the physical body and getting my body and really helping my body to make that shift with me. And maybe if you could see on that.
So you said you're having thyroid problems. Is it creating weight swings?
No, at least that's what what I'm experiencing and or recognizing it is that just low iodine, and that I've just been extremely exhausted. My eyes are watering constantly with different foods. I've a lot of fatigue.
Right.
And I have
so do you have any kind of weight fluctuations in the last 2 years?
Just have had a low weight, nothing, a normal low for me. I've had a hard time gaining weight.
What's your weight right now?
About 115 to 120. I'm about
and how tall are you?
5'5".
Okay, so you're fine there.
Yeah.
And you can't keep weight on. How much water in a day would you drink?
Probably 6 to 8 glasses of water a day. I keep normal weight on. I just can't gain weight. I also had my gallbladder taken out. It's been a long journey I had in the process prior to all this that set me up to the health problems. I had heavy amalgam fillings in. I had a big timeline change that happened. How they've talked about the timeline changes where they've seen the Mandela effect. Well, I had that happen to me specifically in my life. When I was born, they were kind of afraid of me because I was born at 3:33, and there was this big woo-woo experience, and it's just sort of followed me throughout my life of having this intense ability to co-create and trying to come into balance with it, and now to create for myself and kind of finding myself back, okay, in this, in the true world, here.
Hold on, let me dissect what you've said. So since a very young age, you've been impressed that you can co-create with power, but you can't co-create for yourself because it's not a co-creation with yourself.
Well, I've had the hardest time with that. Yes.
Okay.
I had, but
slow down. You're in fast forward mode right now. Okay.
Sorry.
You ever heard David talk about fast forward mode? It says a lot. You're a psychic being, and you can't think ahead of everyone, and you can't solve everybody's problems because you can't solve your own problem right now with connecting to yourself. This is your radar dishes have been outwardly tuned for so long, they are rusted in the outward position. And you've got to go and put some WD-40 and some elbow grease to break the rust off to learn how to, once again, operate with internal radars where you don't edit what you see right away.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So at some point in your life, you didn't like what was internal and you began looking external. Was there a break in faith around 11, 12 years old?
There was one at 5 there was one at 5, and then I was adopted at the age of 11 and 12 by my stepdad.
And
yeah,
by your stepdad.
And I feel like from what I've gathered of just doing immense self-reflective work, and also having other practitioners that have come on my path as I've asked the question, because Source has worked with me very closely for so long, is that I had a twin soul that was attached to me from early in birth, pre-birth that died. And I was growing up, through most of my life thus far, minus a few years, there was this twin soul attached to me that was a very dark, very, very low vibrational energy. Let's just say that it was very fear-based, and it was driving my life in this contrast. And I finally like neutralized and cleared that, replaced with, and created the space around me to be me. So I think back then I was adopted at 11 and 12. And there was also a sexual assault at that point, over the phone. It was a phone sexual assault that might have been a part of that.
No, the adoption itself, compounded traumas, so on and so forth. Well, you're also dealing with a lot of ghost energy too. Okay. Which,
yeah.
You had to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
yeah.
When it comes to retuning those radar dishes inward, how often do you let people do body work on you?
And this is something I was curious about, is that I wasn't able to let people do body work on me because they would not listen and they would hurt me. Because I also have done body work. And so I am looking to find the right body work at this point, because my nervous system.
I gotta call bullshit when I hear bullshit. I've done 10,000 of these public sessions, darling. And every single person who's ever said they don't allow to do body work on them, it's bullshit. And you've got to come to terms with that you are far too selective, and you've allowed your frequencies to only operate in high frequency. Well, guess what? There are some traumas that only broke down by low frequency bulldoze healers.
Right. I recognize that. Okay. Thank you. And
okay.
I can see that I need to, and I have shifted my mindset now that I can draw in people who can help me. Before I wasn't in the right mindset. And I do believe that I can do that. I can align with the right, people who and call and ask for it, and it would come. I feel like
you have not done it yet.
Yes. Okay. And this is right where I need to be right now. Yes. Okay.
Until you've done it, called it in. That's why I call it bullshit.
Okay.
Is it a year away? Is it an hour away? In your heart right now, can you answer when you're going to have body work done to you, and you're not going to reject it?
Next week.
Okay. How can we put you to task? Today's Tuesday. You could have an appointment tomorrow. Let's put the pressure on your program. Can you have a session by 4:00 tomorrow? Deep tissue massage. Something simple that's in every town in every country.
Okay, now may I ask you though, is that so right now I've been dealing with a very, very sensitive nervous system, where that if I even overstretch my arms because of the mercury within me, now this is just what has come, is that I get way overloaded. How would you find?
It's because you have not allowed anyone to do body work on you, and all your trigger points are bloated full of physical chemicals and heavy metals, and then the energetic traumas on top of them, because nobody's tapped the points. It's like a cow that's never been milked, and their udder's about to split.
So just let the work in.
Yeah, well, it's more than just let the work in. It's learning how to turn pain to pleasure, and you're an alchemist. Okay, but you're supposed to be turning off during these sessions, and it's going to be a while till you learn how to turn off during sessions.
Okay.
That's why you need a bulldozer to come in. Okay. Why haven't you sought Chinese acupuncture in the last year and a half to clear some of these up?
Mostly because of money.
No, it's not. You could have saved money up at any point in time to have a $50 session. Come on.
Oh, okay, that's true. Yep, thank you. Okay.
Okay.
Bullshit on that one too. Got it.
Okay. At any moment in time, the choice in you could have put $50 aside and gone and had a session.
You're right. Oh my God. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. I hear it. So it's body work that I need.
Now, identify the part of you who's arguing for your limitation, because you had a really great, nobody can work on me. I've heard thousands of people argue for their limitation of why people can't work on them. Okay. What are your other arguments for your limitations? And can you create the counter argument right in this moment?
Okay.
You won't seek healing. Why? Allow that side of yourself to speak.
Yeah, I didn't know I didn't know which one to go to.
You didn't trust anyone. Let's be specific.
Yes.
Because of the shit you've gone through.
And well, and also, so this piece, I do trust now. Like, I feel like I can start to open to trust. Prior to this,
But you haven't done it yet.
No, and this is just today. Like, I had these anchors that were anchored into a reality that was very dangerous for me, and I was shifting out of that, and I just did. Like, I'm out. I feel like now I can. So yes, I will. Okay, you're right. I haven't
But
as of
three
last.
3 years ago, you could have 3 years ago you could have done the body work and avoided all of this.
Oh,
Okay?
gosh.
And you'd be light years ahead of where you're at right now.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
Don't beat yourself up about it. You must understand, this is the shadow game right now. And this is a great teaching for everyone out there who has never allowed anybody to do body work on them. Just like Georgina shared before, there is no reason you couldn't save $50 and have a treatment, no matter how broke you are. Okay?
Yeah.
Over the many years.
Mm-hmm.
When you don't allow yourself to have body work done on you, there is a part of you that is afraid of doing the work. Okay? That's the part of you that had the trauma at 5, the adoption at 11, all the shit that went wrong with your life. Okay?
Okay.
You ready to let it go?
Yes. Very much so. It's right
Okay.
at
Well,
right
you
at the
can't.
heart. Yeah.
Right. You won't be able to let it go all at once. And there'll be some parts of you who are extremely difficult on not wanting to let go of anything at all. Okay?
Okay.
And it's because of control. What you have learned over the last many years is because of this entity, you had to control your environment to the extremes.
Totally, to stay alive and not let other people be killed
No,
by it. I was watching
that's the propaganda it wanted you to believe.
Okay.
Okay? It's out now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't validate its propaganda anymore.
They were programs. Yeah. It had programs.
Yes. That it had taken over. Yes, you had an actual external entity, but it wasn't there at birth with you. That's the propaganda you learned to believe and empowered because it made you so afraid of itself.
No, I think it came when I was at about 3, when I had my head split open. I had a head injury, and I think it showed up.
Nope.
No? Okay.
Nope. It didn't show up. It didn't show up till you were 11.
Oh, okay.
It came from the actual courts of the adoption papers.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I mean, why else would I tune in right into 11, 12 when you're being adopted?
Yeah.
Because that was the most traumatic spiritual experience of your life. Traumatic spiritual experience.
Wow.
Why is being adopted by your why is being adopted by your stepdad the most traumatic spiritual experience you had? What happened?
Yeah, there was a lot that happened there. And I was also wondering why it was part of the timeline change, I think, but also wondering why I wasn't being adopted by my real dad, who I never had as my true quote unquote legal father. And I was being adopted from a guy who I had never met, who I didn't know was actually part of my biological DNA. And then there was a DNA test that I did after doing some spiritual healing myself about 7-8 years ago, that the DNA said 99.9% he was my father, but there was also this other connection with the twin DNA. So I haven't really ever sorted out what happened with the DNA imprint and the soul and identity.
Or there was incest in your family relation, and that your biological father and the person you believe is your stepfather have some form of incestuous relationship in previous generations.
They had with me, or they have?
They have had it separately. I mean, 2 men can't procreate, but in other lifetimes, the lineages could have crossed over in incest.
Okay.
There are a lot of things that can create it, as well as you, at this most traumatic spiritual experience of your life, you actually had to change your DNA to become your adopted father's blood relative. I have seen this happen. And your DNA can change, your blood can change.
I think it's changed a few times in my lifetime.
Uh-huh.
And I changed it myself. I retuned my DNA with sound healing, and that's what shifted me like immensely to this high frequency vibrational state where I was in this like feeling love, and I healed a whole bunch of stuff in a fast amount of time. And then I still had this attachment to me, and I ended up being dropped
Slow down. Slow
very.
down. You're in such fast forward mode. You revealed something else about your parasympathetics controlling you. You healed this stuff so fast, and then all the other shit came in, and you never really had time to process what you healed.
Yes, that exactly. Yes,
Okay?
and
So how do you really know what you've actually healed if you actually haven't processed it all because things were going so fast?
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, thank you for calling that in. Okay. Yeah, and it
Okay?
did
A
happen.
lot of people over process, or in your situation, under process.
Which is interesting because when I was had that fall, I was basically being told to stop processing, that I was processing too fast, because I was doing a lot of before that I was doing a lot of like energy psychology work and processing matrix work really fast. Like I was doing it daily and seeing everything change around me and growing from it, but not being able to be direct.
And then you didn't have enough time to actually go through your personal change of what those changes meant to you. And then the reality outside and around you was changing too fast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for pulling this in. I think I'll be able to tune into them, and feeling around that time in my life to close some circles and be able to shift out of that traumatized place.
Mm-hmm. So let me give you some more advice here. There are a bunch of traumas which you, let's say, have glazed over in your lifetime that you can't glaze over anymore. Okay? Do you understand what I'm saying here? There's some traumas you don't allow yourself to see as traumas anymore.
Yes, I do.
Are you there?
Yes, it looked like you
All right.
had muted me. Yes, I do understand what you mean.
You
But
can't allow that to happen anymore. Okay?
Okay.
You really got to go back and look at your picture albums from a young age and use the positive energy you of today and read the person in the pictures and see some of the hauntings that you had to go through. And as this high frequency energy being of today, you can clear out the being of past that's you. And earlier in the conversation, I talked to you about turning your radar dishes inside. I would go and get as many pictures from your youth and young age as possible, and one by one, actually do a 10 or 20-minute clearing on each picture and transfer the fullness of your practitioner wisdom onto yourself in those pictures who were you at a young age.
Oh, yes. I'm going to have to look hard because we've had a lot of loss of the photos in my life.
Okay. Well, you can do a lot with just one photo.
Okay, I've got.
You're a multidimensional, multifunctional, high-density being. I'm sure you can get past having a limited amount of photos.
That's true. Yes, I can. I have a lot of them in my head too. So.
Okay. You can also just go by birth dates. You know, your date of birth. You know, what happened 6 months before my birthday or 6 months after my birthday, and start triggering your memories at a higher level.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. That's
okay.
A good technique to do that.
Write down the top 10 most traumas. Do you know what the top 10 traumas in your life are? You start working on those first. Okay.
Okay. This technique of transferring my wisdom, energy, and space that I am of now into that space and clearing and releasing and neutralizing those energies that were there.
You're coming as a practitioner who's doing a healing on yourself because you have asked to engage your practitioner self to enter your multidimensional state and enter to a younger version of you who, through not tacit consent but direct I am consent, is asking for a healing and clearing of a frequency, which is what you do, right?
Yes.
It's what you do quite well, and it is what you want to do for a while. This is how you turn your radar dishes inside.
Okay. Yeah. My heart is full. Thank you.
All right, darling, I got to let you go.
All right.
Thank you for calling.
Gratitude. Thank you for answering. Blessings.
Blessings to you, too. All right, Robert, I think we're going to go on our break right now. And when we
Andrew, if you can hear me, I think we lost you there for a second. You're back on.
Yeah, I'm here. I think
Okay.
we should time to go ahead and do our break now.
Okay, we'll be back in about 10 minutes.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Chris Ray Chappell, and I'm going to be teaching in Aniki, Barbados from the 11th of October for 3 days, an intensive on Hunyuan primordial Qigong. This is a classical energy work set, which is primarily meant to open up all of the energy pathways of the body and to actually get you into your essence. Now, the idea of this set is it's going to open every single joint, muscle, every bit of connective tissue, the sinews, the organs, the spine, access the blood flow to the brain, creating a homeostasis. Now, Qigongs classically are meant for either health, power development and strength, and often for meditation. So the application of this set is broad ranging. So I'd like to welcome you there. Hopefully you can make it for the 3 days. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to enjoy teaching it and sharing what I have to see who turns up. So I'd like to see you there. Thanks very much. Bye.
Baby steps for adults, drug abuse. What is drug addiction? Am I an addict? Who does drug addiction really harm? They can hurt your sense of judgment, decision-making, memory, and ability to learn. They can hurt your loved ones and so many others around you. Drug addiction is a disease which can be cured. Our Baby Steps program can provide the information you and your family need to overcome this illness. online access to professionals working in the field of addiction, webinars and group counseling for those battling this addiction, full instruction to help you first understand this disease and how to cope with it. Join us today. We're here to help. Baby steps for adults, codependency. I can't live with or without you. I just want to look good for you. I would do anything for you. All popular words to famous songs. But guess what? They all indicate someone in a codependent relationship. Codependency is an addiction to another human being. You will see a strong relationship between codependency and negative physical side effects, which can manifest in violence towards your spouse or partner. If you're in a codependent relationship, you may need help. Join us today and free yourself from this addiction. Baby steps for adults, sexual abuse. Sexual abuse is a real problem in our societies. Every year, thousands of children are abused. These children constitute the most vulnerable members of our society. However, sexual abuse is also a real problem among our adult population. It can be violent and unwanted within family groups, as well as extreme harassment at the workplace. We can help. With online access to trained professionals working with victims of abuse and sexual assault, webinars and group counseling for those suffering from the trauma and struggling to make sense of their lives, full instruction to help you overcome the trauma and how to detect and assist other victims. Protect yourself and your loved ones. Join us today. Baby steps for adults, communication. Hey there! Are you reading this? Do you understand me? Oh, great! Then we're communicating. So what is good communication? Expressing exactly how you feel. Being personal and one-on-one. A simple touch or gesture of love. And what is poor communication? Screaming and shouting. Belittling others. Violence or verbal abuse. Would you like to learn to be an effective communicator? Join us today. Oh, bye now.
Welcome back, everyone. As I am in a hellacious hailstorm, as you can probably hear in the background. It is coming down so hard with thick hail and big size, like the tips of my thumb, that I can barely see out my window. Robert, how does my audio sound okay?
Amazingly, it's coming through really well, considering.
All right, so you don't hear all the hail hitting the house here, the car?
No, it just sounds like a light background murmur.
Okay, because to me it's like deafening. All right, let's spin the wheel of callers and see who we got next.
Okay, our next caller will be Lucius. Lucius, you're now unmuted with Andrew.
Lucius, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Hi, Andrew.
Where are you calling from today?
Los Angeles.
Welcome to the show. What did you want to talk about today?
Well, it's kind of similar to other callers. I have a lack of energy. It's been a problem for years. It's been a problem for years. Basically, I kind of am like getting with other people that give me a lot of energy, which is fine. You know, I go to groups and whatever. But when I go inward deep down, I feel like part of me is this child that's just doesn't want to, just wants to be comforted and basically wants healing. But then, on other days I can be very, vibrant and, use my, shine my light.
Okay, I'm gonna put a set of words. I'm gonna say a set of words, and I just want you to say if you connect to these words or not. Do you have a need to be needed?
No, I really don't.
Okay.
I don't.
Do you know the difference between the need and a want inside your body?
That I might be confused about. Yeah, I can admit to that. I might be really confused about that.
But it's also fair to say that
feels like a need.
Feels like a need.
Sometimes
there is a need to be needed. There is a need to be needed in you because you have such an intense amount of light to give people too, and you've had some hard breaks in your life, like everyone else in the world.
Yeah, and it's hard to. I was kind of managing my energy, and then I get in these kind of not wanting to whatever. I get with someone with a lot of energy just recently. And, I'm trying to navigate it and keep this person in my life. Of course, I feel romantic feelings, but, it's not, we're just friends. But, I don't want to.
But he doesn't reciprocate the romantic feelings.
Right. And it's a woman. Yeah.
Okay. So there's the need to be there. There, right there is your need to be needed as a woman. Okay?
Right.
And that's putting out a pheromone right now that is very confusing to men.
You mean women?
So men and women. Men and women. Okay. You may be attracted to women, but right now you're not attracting them. Are you?
No. If you can help me with that, I'd appreciate it.
Just because there's a pheromone that's coming to you that's not actually attracting mate energy. You're the energy that's emanating and out of you is business partnerships, relationships that deal with business. Have you done a corporate life? Did you do a corporate life before?
I know what you're talking about. You're right on. It's not about being corporate, but I'm kind of very inexperienced with women at this point. So I think I'm just very inexperienced.
Sure, but let's get back to the corporate.
Yeah,
what did you do back then?
What can I do about that? Well, I have done a lot. I could tell you a list of things I've done. So, in my weaker moments, I really don't even want to tell people what I've done because it's kind of hopeless to me if I go through that list.
It's not hopeless. It's not hopeless. All I want to know is you essentially walked away from your corporate lifestyle. Is that what you did?
No, basically what you're talking about is, when I get with people, I do like to help them. Like, a lot of times in the gay community where we basically are friends before we're lovers. So when I'm a friend with somebody, I do have like spiritual contact with them, and I don't pray for them or anything like that, but I'm just like myself around them. I do tend to be like a spiritual, well, just normally myself seems to help people spiritually, maybe. You know what I mean?
So it is it or isn't. Is it a maybe? Is it a yes or is it a no?
Yes, and sometimes no.
Meaning you don't really know what it is because you still don't know the difference between a need and a want at the inner level. And I'm willing to say, right around age 13 to 14 is where something began to go.
Yeah.
Let's just say, radically rebellious inside you. Okay. What did you do at that age that made you radically rebellious?
God,
that young kid is still running your relationship frequency right now. Was there somebody you liked you were ejected from them?
Yeah, I mean, I had a best friend in high school. I guess we were like rebellious in a way. Yeah, we were like different. We acted differently, and we played games and stuff on people. All sorts of stuff.
Well, you've been spending the last many years trying to replace that person, and you probably don't even realize it.
Yeah, I would say that is true. I felt like that was maybe my first falling in love experience with a woman. So yeah, it's kind of like you want to go back and be in love again or have
No, that's a desire. I want to be in love again. That's a desire. That's not a want or a need.
Oh, okay. See, now desire. Okay, it's all very Maybe I just
there are subtle layers. There are subtle layers that redefine what they are. What makes the difference between a want, a need, or desire is all about: is it being instantly gratified or is it being denied gratification?
Oh my God!
The desire as a
deny is what I'm feeling in my heart and in my body. Yeah.
So what part of you is denying the female love, even though you're a part of the gay community?
Yeah, it never tends to work out. Huh?
Well, no, I think it's you may be a part of the gay community, but there's still a part of you inside you that's not accepting being gay or bisexual.
Well, I'm not resonating with that, but it sure has been in my past. That's for sure. Had so many years I rejected it. Yeah.
I'm still saying there's a subtle part of you that's still running it today because you're asking why isn't there a relationship, and I'm going right through, cutting through all the stuff, and there's a little piece of light right in the right ventricle of your heart that is showing a duality and a separation between your love between men and women.
Okay, I believe you for some reason.
That is where your fractal, your energy frequency is torn. That is a wound.
Okay.
You can love everyone equally. You can love everyone equally and have sexual relationship with everyone equally. This does not change who you are, does it?
I have thought that, but does it? No, I don't believe in. No, I agree with all that. I don't think it. I'm not real.
But there is a program. There is still a program inside of you from a young age who has to be let go. Okay.
A program that when I was 13.
Yep, 13, 14, 15, right around that era. That really, it's the part that's trying to recreate that first love over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Your first love will never be like your first love again. They're all going to be different.
Right. Okay. I
Okay.
can accept that.
Okay.
Anything else?
What do you do for a job?
Okay, well, I actually talked to you before. You probably don't remember me, but yeah, basically, I do group therapy right now. I was a trauma therapist for like 10
I
years.
remember now. I
Huh?
remember now.
Oh, you do?
I remember now. That. Do you remember what I told
So
you?
many people. You talk to so many people. I'm shocked.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember what I told you back?
I remember everything you said. I did everything. I did try once everything you told me to do. So
Okay.
I did try it once, everything you told me to do.
So that's
Like,
just putting your toe in the water and really not investing, though.
well, I mean, it's really hard going in one of those tanks and you're alone in the
No, it's
dark.
not. No, it's not. It is not. It is not hard. It is just getting over your own fear.
Well,
Come
I
on.
mean, it's hard to go to sleep when you're, I really want to go to sleep. Isn't that the point?
No.
Oh, it's not? Okay, just if they could just let me do it for
No.
half an hour. You think they'd
You
do
can
that?
do it for a half an hour.
It's
They
hard
can
to
do it for half an hour.
in the dark, Andrew.
No, it's not. No, the issue is you. The issue is you. The issue is
Okay.
you. You don't like being alone with your own thoughts.
Oh,
Oh.
I'm alone a lot of times though, Andrew, but I do have my little comforts at home.
You don't like being alone with your own thoughts in zero stimulation. You are constantly stimulating
that's
yourself.
true. That is so true.
And to overstimulation, and the brain is always thinking it's the shit of everything, when the heart's going, hey, what about me? Hey, what about the heart? And the brain's like, meh, I'm in charge right now. I'm stimulated. Heart, go away.
Well, so are you saying it's wrong, to get alone and kind of be comforted also and go through this process? It is. Are you saying it is better without the creature comforts,
No,
and go through that process?
no, you need the creature comforts, but you also have to know when to battle yourself to create those creature comforts for yourself.
Okay.
You've been giving to yourself a limited amount of love, and right now it's the McDonald's value meal and not the organic, meal you've been asking for.
Okay.
When's the last time you had a McDonald's Happy Meal?
I never have
The crap, aren't they?
Huh?
It's a crap, right? It's crap.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's what you're giving. That's what you're giving yourself right now. Just the Happy Meal. There's
Just
no
spiritually.
true nutrition in it. Right now you're not getting what you want out of being able to give to yourself. Therefore, you have looked to the external source, and the external source is, hey, your pheromones say this, and it's all around you, but it's not what you want, not what you need, or not what you desire. None of them are signature frequency matches for the being that you are, right?
I thought because it felt really bad, maybe I should go by what I feel, but I will keep trying it then. It just felt really isolating and kind of scary being in the dark, but I will keep
But
trying.
you're in a vat of salt that's extremely beneficial to the body, the mind, and the spirit.
Yeah, and I'm kind of unaware of the beneficial, I'm not connected with benefits as yet. Actually, I did feel good though, very energized in my body though. I did. I have to say, when I got out.
Now imagine if you actually had followed through with what I said. You'd be in a totally different position.
You think?
And there might be a companion in your frequency right now.
Okay. Well, I have done other things that, I have changed my diet. I've lost some weight. There are some good things I did. I went to see one of those cranial therapists. It is kind of expensive. I can go back, but maybe I need somebody to actually touch my body. What do you think? This person just...
Absolutely.
Okay.
Part of craniosacral is what's called light energetic touch. And if I recall what I told you, you needed about 8 hours of sessions to break through the wall of stagnant energy that's in you.
Of this cranial sacral?
Yeah, just cranial combined with floats, because floats are the great neutralizer of stagnant energy. They get it moving again. And when you
Okay.
combine those with the diet change and the colon cleansing, you actually get energy moving in your life, positive energy that changes your pheromones.
Okay. All righty then.
And follow through. You can't just stick your toe in the water anymore.
Okay. So the cranial sacral, even though this person I'm going to doesn't really, she's very much into the energy. She's not giving him a massage.
Cranial sacral is not a massage, first thing first.
Okay. Okay.
It's specific pressure points that they're releasing the hardcore pressure points around your spinal column, so your spinal column fluid is flowing naturally. Right now, part of your fatigue that you're experiencing is you have binds in your spinal column fluid tract, and you can't get spinal fluid to the lower parts of your tailbone, and your tailbone is an extension of your brain.
Right.
That's why
And
you're
my tailbone
disconnected
was
from your root.
broken.
That's one other reason why you needed cranial.
Okay.
You can't do it. It doesn't get fixed in 1 hour. It's many, many sessions for it to unravel, because it's like high tension wires, so tight. And once you start unraveling those high tension wires, the body naturally wants to go back to its tense state 4 or 5 days later. This is why you need regular sessions, so you can let down the tensity and the sinews go back to their normal shape.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Have you done any yoga? Have you done any extended yoga work?
Yeah, I had a yoga teacher one-on-one for about a few months. I do still remember things that I was taught and do it by myself at times. But there's exercise I do here. It's not, it's not all the time yoga. I'm just kind of working out. And,
That's fine. I mean, your weight's okay, but you need to build inner core strength. Inner core strength will also help you change the nature of the pheromones that are around you too.
Okay.
Okay. So we have a yoga and Tai Chi retreat coming up in October, 11th to the 14th. I would highly recommend you thinking about taking something like that, so you have some new skill sets to bring back to you during your change. Okay. You really need to add new input into your journey, and an input that can help still your mind and get you out of fast forward.
Get me out of fast forward. I do tend to look to the future a lot. Yep.
What is looking to the future going to give you?
Oh, that's just something I picked up because of psychic stuff. I'm really trying to just be mindful in the moment days. But sometimes it's hard to let go of old habits.
Or you have an issue with your curiosity.
Oh yeah, I'm totally want to know. I mean, I'm kind of. That's why I watch your program and programs like yours. I do have a passion for all that.
Or you have an issue, not a passion anymore.
I don't know. What's the
you're overstimulated and overlearning and not allowing some of these grand things that take months to understand and process to sit into you.
Okay.
That's why I stopped doing after 180 hours. I stopped doing any more galactic history.
Okay.
No one was really taking the time to process it. People were binging the shows and not really understanding the innateness of the teachings within them. There's one episode of Galactic History, episode number 5, that the average person should take 2 years of listening to it over and over and over again to understand just the basics of it, so the rest of the episodes make sense. Most people aren't going to do that, though. But episode 11 and 12 can also make you go back and understand episode 2 or 3 differently, because everything's about understanding the layers of perspective we need to process high-density information through our physical bodies that create a lasting memory in us, that creates an effective change. If we're collecting information over and over again and not allowing it to change our density, what's the point of collecting any form of information? Especially the spiritual stuff. Especially the spiritual stuff. How much more do you need to learn before you say it's enough?
No, it's not.
Let me process what I've learned.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about book learning or like trying to understand it.
I'm
I'm one of
talking
those
show
people-
learning.
Well, I fall asleep during your stuff. You told me on one show that stuff was being downloaded when you can't keep your eyes open for some odd reason. So,
Because the light is too strong, the light is too much for you, and you're not retaining the light in the moment. The I am isn't strong enough being in the body.
yeah,
You have to enter the
other
dream
times,
state to understand it.
and other times I really do, Andrew. I mean, I can't really explain
get it.
why.
I get it.
There are times
I get it.
Okay.
I get
Okay.
where you're at. And what I'm saying is you've been overstimulated for so long, your actual skill set of processing the data you've learned has a shortfall in it. Okay? You're not actually retaining some of the great knowledge you've learned and these wisdoms that you've learned from all these other sources so that you can make an instant pattern recognition in the moment. That's what being psychic is. Taking what's in the information field and making a pattern recognition for yourself or for a client or for both.
It's because I
You
need
have an
balance.
incredible pattern. You have an incredible pattern recognition. I can see the coded frequencies in your light, but you're not really applying your pattern recognition because you have what I call weaponized curiosity. You've had to learn and catch up for so long. You're light years ahead of everyone else. And that's why you have a hardship with friends and family and close people, because you're so far ahead of everyone else.
That's true.
Kind of sucks being that far ahead, doesn't it? Don't have any peers, do you?
No, but it's made me humble.
Absolutely, it has made you humble. Now what? Now what? Okay, now you're humbled. Now what? What are you going to do now?
That's what I often ask myself, and I'm like looking at myself just with my head under the covers. I'm like, don't you want to do anything? And it's just not up. What for? My answer is it's like, what for? Move, do something.
What for?
Do what?
How about for yourself? solely for yourself.
Do it
The
for
next
myself.
time the what for, I'm doing it solely for myself and selfish reasons.
Now that I might
Have you ever really done that for yourself in your life?
Yeah, I've tried to get in
No.
relationships solely for myself.
No. Bullshit. You cannot get into a relationship solely for yourself. You defeat the relationship from the very beginning. Relationships are cooperation.
Okay, so it has to be something else. Okay, is that what you're saying?
Solely
myself,
for
but not
yourself.
Solely for myself.
Correct. You can have no other ulterior or altruistic motive of expansion other than to solely nurture and heal yourself.
Let me tell you what I really dig on that I would do solely for myself. And that is I like to talk to higher beings. I really love just communicating. Just for the sake of communicating, just like having somebody to talk to. I really like that.
Have you had it done before?
Oh yeah, I have my ways of communicating. When it's been really good, it's like I really love it. But not all the time. It's not like that. But when I
So how do you know you won't upset?
Oh, go ahead.
How do you know you won't upset? How do you know you won't obsess about it and fall in love with it being on the other side?
Well, I mean, isn't that what you said? Totally for myself, so I am gonna like it. Or why would I do it?
No, you're missing my point. Totally for yourself is not about gratifying a subject matter. It's about fulfilling something in you that's missing and incomplete. Solely for yourself, and you're not doing it for anyone else. Having off-world or higher form of frequency communication is part of the daily practice. Okay?
Okay.
What I'm referring to is you're going to create a spiritual pilgrimage solely for yourself. Go to some big spiritual place solely for yourself, not inviting any one of your friends. not demanding anyone comes with you, solely for yourself. On the plane yourself, getting the cab yourself, to and from, whatever it is going to do, solely for yourself. And then have joy out of it and have a victory dance out of it, solely for yourself. Too much of you is conjoined. Too much of you is conjoined to everyone else, unfortunately. Being part of the gay community, which is a close-knit community, makes it very easy to have close-knit people around you. And you naturally want to invite them to do things with you because that's the nature of that community. You got to even let go of the community solely for yourself. Is your personal rites of passage. Personal rites of passage. Have you ever been to the pyramids in Egypt?
No.
Could you afford to do it?
I mean, yeah, if I really worked my ass off, yeah.
Can you do it for yourself? You can find something that's cheaper. You can go down to the Maya lands for half the price. You can go to Australia. You can go anywhere in the world solely for yourself. Can you save up $3,500? Can you save up $3,500? Then you can go do a 12 days in the Maya lands on a bus. Okay?
Yeah.
When are you going to do that?
Well, yeah.
5 years? Less than 5 years? I'm only playing hardball with you. I'm not trying to help you out. I'm only playing hardball with you because there's a part of you who's never actually done this, and you're drastically afraid of doing everything yourself. There's a part of you who never wants to be alone.
Oh, I
see. That's a traumatized being inside you who can't be alone. And it came from nightmares that you had between age 16 and 24. Do you remember any of those nightmares?
Well, I've had a lot of things where I was catapulted into different places. It did seem like I went out too far sometimes.
Mm-hmm. You did.
And then
you brought things back with you. And you brought things back with you.
What did I?
Because you went out so far and you were alone in the middle of the nowhere and made friends with something you should have made friends with.
Oh. I had a little worry about that. About going too far.
You did. You went too far. Now you got to start reeling yourself back in by having these moments of internal aloneness with yourself.
Okay.
All right, darling. I got to move on to my next caller. We had our bell ring through there.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Andrew.
You're welcome. Thank you. You have a great day. All right, Robert. Okay. Let's spin the wheel of callers, Robert, and this will be our last caller.
All righty. Next caller will be Kevin. Kevin, you are unmuted with Andrew.
Kevin, are you there? Hello, Kevin.
Oh.
Going once.
Hello.
Hey, Kevin.
Hello.
Where are you calling from today?
I'm
Hello.
calling from.
Hi, Kevin. How you doing? Where are you calling from?
Jackman, Maine.
Jackman, Maine. Welcome to the show. What did you want to talk about today?
Oh, I enjoy listening. I'll talk about whatever you want to talk about.
All right. I'll push it here. Do you ever listen to the Q conspiracy forums?
Yeah, I listened to some of them.
What do you think of it?
Well, the one I listen to the most is the X-22 report. I think that one's interesting.
Mm-hmm. How long have you been listening to X-22 for?
I would say about 6 months or so.
Okay. So they've got a long track record, been around a long time, and made a lot of forecasts that haven't come true. Some have come true. Now, I specifically asked about Q because he's there's no longer an 8chan or a 4chan for him to drop into. And we have had a major hurricane go by that some supposedly be that the weather modification community people are trying to do. And the whole reason that Q was taken down, 8chan was taken down, and Jim Jeffries, the guy that owns 8chan, was brought in front of Congress, was to reveal that Q was a part of a greater conspiracy, a negative one.
Huh.
Not that I believe that any of that. It's just all part of the dirty politics that's going on.
Yeah, I can see that. Definitely a lot of dirty politics that goes on.
Right. What do you think of this narrative that Trump is about taking down the deep state? Do you think he really is?
Yes and no. I think
so. What's the yes?
Taken down. I'm just not sure for what reason.
Well, the reason is obvious: to stop the control, the corruption, etc.
Right, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah, but if it's not done transparently and done openly, there is no control. You're just changing tyrants for tyrants. You're going to get a diet tyrant for a while.
I agree. Now, what's your take on it? That's what I'm interested in.
We're due for a whole bunch of stand-up political comedy going down as they try to cover up a whole bunch of truths and spin a whole bunch of stories that have no truth behind them to cover up the fact that factions inside factions are battling each other and dropping information on each other left and right. I described it in 2013 as what was coming ahead of us was a giant Three Stooges show. That political news organizations would have breakdowns. People on air would be suddenly quitting, which has happened many times. A lot of my predictions when it came to the news agency are 100% spot on. Well, we're going to have a rapid increase of it. During the last election, you had a whole bunch of political commentary people who were deplatformed, removed from their things, removed from their Fox station, so on and so forth, Rupert Murdoch and all those other people, the guy that was in charge of Fox News. Well, you're going to have another round of media people being expunged. And many of them are going to make on-air mistakes that the social justice outrage culture is going to seize onto and try to exercise a new form of fear over the left. They're going to try, the left is becoming the new fascist party because they're basically saying we have to beat Trump in any way, shape, or form. Well, the left was never meant to be that radical. That was the right's purpose. So they flipped purposes, and what you're going to see is a radicalization of the left and a de-radicalization of the right, while each is accusing each other of radicalization. And then you're going to have a massive breakdown of the actual infrastructure of news agencies, and stories are going to come out that prove fake news on both sides. And then you're going to have last election cycle, you had a Democratic Congress that had its emails hacked into, so on and so forth. You're going to have another round of email hacking that's going to come up, let's say, by Christmas 2019. The first inklings of the next hack story is going to come through. And then we are going to have something else very similar to Snowden come in by February and March next year on the same scale. Now what did you believe about Snowden? Did you believe he was real?
I believed a lot of what he said was real.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I keep wishing and I guess praying for is truth. I want to see truth. I just want to know the truth. And the biggest thing.
How would you know the truth if it was sitting right in front of you?
Well, that's what I keep trying to determine is how do you distinguish the truth? And from what I've been gathering is it's easier to take inside.
Absolutely.
And it makes sense.
There are negative truths that are weaponized in such a way that use your previous flaws and traumas against you to make it easily accessible, such as and racism that's instilled into a person at a young age, and that they may have not taken on the racism, but there are subtle habits that come out later on in their life.
Gotcha.
Okay,
The
which
other
is what
thing
we're seeing in white America now, coming out in
Right.
the news.
The other
Many
thing
of them
I'm-
are not racist.
that I like answers on is the whole vaccine issue.
Well, anytime you're giving somebody 20 vaccinations in less than a year is a detriment to the living organism.
Oh, what is it now? Up to like 72?
I think they get 22 in the first year, and
Right.
70 by the time they're 4.
I don't understand
Or-
why
or
doctors
six.
don't realize that the immune system is not even engaged less than a year
Because
old.
because they're not engaged, they're not educated on infant immunities. They're general practitioners who've taken a general class, and if you're lucky, they got C+ or better.
All right. Well, I always say that. Even the doctor, the graduate that was the lowest student in the class, still a doctor.
Still gets a job too.
Right? Absolutely.
And debt that he's got, and debt they have to pay back. So
Yeah.
stop blaming the doctors. It's still pharmacopoeia and the legislature that puts doctors in the situations that they're in. The doctors can't even use the AMA, American Medical Association, to organize as a union to challenge in a collective bargaining state the government. Doctors
Right.
would never even know how to collectively bargain with the government because they're so influenced by the pharmacopoeia companies. Pharmacopoeia would shit a brick if doctors started unionizing collectively worldwide. Well, there's
Do we have a shot at
77 million. Yeah. Go ahead.
do we have a shot at getting them to be culpable and end the beers, or are they always going to be protected?
Oh, there's always opportunities. We are always one viral video, one document away that can start a social movement that isn't social justice, that is an educating movement that gets people to work together and not compete against each other.
Well, that's what I'm hoping for, because I tell you, I'm going to have a hard time somebody coming after my grandkids. To all of my grandkids are unvaccinated. I'm going to have a very hard time if someone tries to come at them.
So let me ask you this other question. What happens if one of them gets measles or mumps?
Well, I had measles. My daughter had measles. We had a measles party when she got the measles through a measles party. Again, is it really a disease, or is it something that they're better off getting when they're young?
They're better off getting it when they're young always. But it's the implementation of the vaccinations and the volumes that they're putting in, and they're not taking into information that every child is different, and that
Right.
oftentimes the child doesn't even determine what blood type it's going to be. Doctors have proven and nurses have proven that babies change their blood type frequently. Okay, every hospital and every nurse that's ever been in a NICU unit that's ever tested the blood of a baby and then gone again and go, hey, well, it's fucking different. Happens all the time. They don't want anyone to know that, though, because that would mean DNA and blood aren't exactly what the doctors and books say that it is.
So what is it? See, now you piqued my interest.
It's an expression of your consciousness and what you're going through at the time.
Okay.
What are babies going through? Okay. You raise children. You saw that little baby look back at you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you see life force? Did you see intelligence?
Yes.
Saw the potential future?
Kids are very, I mean, I see it in my grandchildren, especially now, even over and above my own.
Uh-huh.
And that's my biggest thing is my biggest desire before I leave this earth is for my children and my grandchildren to be awake.
Okay. And you can help them on that journey.
Oh,
What
I
legacy
do.
do you want to leave them?
That's what I'm trying to accomplish in these last 25, 30 years or so, whatever I have left.
Well, now it's time to make a book of education for those children and grandchildren. Lessons grandpops has learned. Don't believe the politicians.
Yeah,
The whole section on that one. The whole section. Okay.
Yeah, what I'd like to see is term limits. Oh man, does this country need term limits?
It needs more than term limits. It needs to actually battle corruption at an extended endurance level, because we've battled corruption before. We've had times prohibition was really an attack at corruption. It wasn't really an attack at the alcohol. It was an attack at the corruption to try to change corruption to be legalized corruption, which is ultimately what it created, legalized corruption.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. Until corruption is challenged, even at the most basic level, like why do police officers constantly get off for shooting unarmed people?
Right.
Because they're protected, et cetera, et cetera. Every sacred cow has to have its corruption factor looked at. The military corruption factory, the military industrial complex. We were warned about it from Eisenhower. 70 years later, we are suffering the consequences of not stopping the flow of that corruption. Okay? Not a single person went to jail for the 2008 mortgage meltdown scandal. Not a single person went to jail. How can we, as the three generations of the ones that are the voting sovereign, accept that?
Right.
We're forced to, because we don't have a voice.
What was up with this last hurricane?
It was a weather modification weapon that was intended to go and take out the majority of Florida, hit the server farms that were in Tallahassee that control military technology, and then once during the disaster they were going to, let's just say, trigger race riots as part of the journey to capture Florida as the next election thing, because they're still trying to set up who's going to win the election and how they're going to spin the story.
Gotcha. Now,
imagine if Mar-a-Lago, Trump's prized possession, is destroyed by a Category 5 hurricane.
Right.
What do you think Trump would have done? Right.
Right. Well, I don't know what he would have done, but
he'd have gone ballistic.
Now,
he'd have gone ballistic. He'd have made a mistake, and they'd have got him.
Yep. There you go. Why did it sit over Bermuda for so long?
Because two forms of technology were battling the actual control of the eye. Two different forms of weather modification technology.
Because I was going after the eye myself.
Well, the other form of weather modification technology that we'll just call the negatives was being operated out of South Africa, which is a rebel group of cabal people who aren't taking orders from anyone, not even the main cabal people.
Really?
Mm-hmm. There's big fractions within the cabal. They were never really a highly organized unit. It just appeared that way.
Gotcha. Yeah, you can see that because it doesn't make a lot of sense a lot of times.
Right, and it's designed that way. Because the less you can actually know of the bigger picture, the less you'll understand what all the different activations and motivations are. It's still about DNA farming. And if you take away all the politics, the science, the belief, and everything, they're still trying to get us to breed and fuck and create war and karma. While we evolve DNA in the model that they want us to evolve in.
See, I did get a lot of that because I went through the Age of Resolution things that you did. And that's the reason I went through them.
Yep. So we're going to get a series of more hurricanes. It's not over. You'll see more attempts at taking control. Example, Nova Scotia ended up getting hit very, very powerfully by the storm, because once both let go of the weather modification technology, the storm had to unravel naturally. Otherwise, more storms would have been spun up in the South Atlantic. So every time you try to control something, you have something else go wrong somewhere else in the train of energetic hurricane, somewhere else in the world.
Wow.
So, And then the Dorian is actually going to reform over the Arctic and then hit Ireland and Finland and Norway again.
Really? So it's not done yet?
Mm-hmm. It's not done, no. It'll reform over the Arctic.
Huh.
Remember, the Arctic cap is melting faster than it has ever done in the last 40 years. And those waters are warmer than they've ever been before, and more open water, not ice.
And then that's in one of the programs that you did, you were talking about old programmed water.
Correct. It's
And
replacing the old programmed water.
Yeah. Now,
you know,
the other
20 inches of rain was dumped on the Bahamas.
Right.
That's all water that's been taken from the surface of the ocean that's been redirected, and all this other rain that's falling over the coast is redirected, reprogrammed water.
Now, I started concentrating and focusing on reprogramming the water to be non-destructive.
Yep. Great way to do it.
Interesting. Okay. Huh. See, and I started playing with the clouds and stuff too. One of the shows that you had done, or was it you or the other person that I listened to that I'd be interested in your take on is Higher Balance.
Higher Balance. I'm not too familiar with them.
Eric Pepin.
Nah, I'm not familiar with him. I have not been paying attention to other people's work for a while.
He's has an interesting side, a lot like you do. So I don't know if that's our bell or not, but
all right. So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
How many years have you been following these movements, consciousness, spirituality, conspiracy, aliens? How many years have you invested in it?
Since 2017 is when I finally started searching for answers, and I started with Mind Valley, did a few seminars with them, and then I found you.
Okay.
And
do you think the industry in these 2 years
more than anybody?
Do you think the industry is really changing?
I want to try. I get discouraged because I think I see where it's getting commercialized.
It's regurgitation videos now. Nothing new is coming out in the community. Let me tell you something. There's plenty of authentic people. There's nothing new coming out because there's nothing new allowed to become out. The information age has put something into effect that has created a very big disturbance in how information is exchanged between people. Okay? The disinformation system is now creating its very own content on its own without overseers or directors around it.
Really?
Okay? This is a world of belief. Why has Flat Earth taken over and caused 50 people to kill themselves in the last 3 years?
Okay.
It's the war for belief, the war on consciousness.
So we need to start focusing on keeping reality in the here and now. Correct.
We need people like you to step up and say, I want to leave a legacy for my children and grandchildren, their children and grandchildren. That is an education-based model that allows them to grow their own sovereignty and learn and make mistakes and not be held back by the views of a previous generation, but show how you can go beyond those views. It needs the philosophers to step forward and philosophize on paper.
The other thing that I've keyed in on in the last few months or so is the attack on the family unit.
Yeah, that's been going on since 300 years when they try to get people into cities.
Yep, I agree, because the family unit, I think, holds together the fabric of reality a lot.
Absolutely. Before television and the radio, that the families entertained themselves by song and dance.
Right.
And oftentimes many families would get together and share all the food that they have. and everyone would do a song, a dance, so something that would be entertainment for the night.
I have definitely been putting out a lot of invocations and desires for the family unit to have some kind of protection around it from being divided.
Well, what can you do for your family unit and the family units around you?
Well, my son, when my middle daughter graduated high school, my son was, I think, around 10, 11 years old, 12 years old. We had a graduation party.
Mm-hmm.
And he went around during that party and drank everybody's leftover alcohol.
Uh-huh.
And I was called into the house towards the end of the party with him sitting on the couch. I mean, just completely plastered, throwing up on himself. And I saw something in his eyes that night that I didn't realize until about a month ago. About a year and a half ago, he had his son was born. And he's not a real drinker, partier, bar person, so to speak. And he had some tooth problems and started using alcohol to take the pain away because he didn't have any medical insurance. And there's a long history of alcohol on both sides of my family and both sides of his wife's family. And he would go in the evening, drop his wife off at work, and then go down later and drop the car off and walk back home with his son. Well, one night he had gone to a wedding in the afternoon, had a few drinks and stuff, and that evening, when he went to drop his wife off went to drop the car off to his wife at the grocery store, he was pulled over by a state trooper as he was pulling into the parking lot of the grocery store. And he was found to be drinking and driving. And it wasn't until about a month ago that I realized because from that year and a half ago and that issue with his teeth, he started drinking closet. He became a closet drinker.
Many people with teeth issues have many people with teeth issues have that. And my advice to anyone that has a family member with teeth issues, if they can't afford it, they're in pain, help them get through it.
Well, that's what we did. And as a result, he lost his license for a year. And over the course of this past year is when this whole drinking issue has been coming up. Because with him not having his license, being bored and everything else, he went into a kind of, I guess, a state of depression and stuff without even realizing it. But it came to a head about a month ago. It came to a head about a month ago where his wife told him, that's it. It's not coming home, and that's it. So he went through about 3-4 days, and I have been trying for a year without getting too much in his face to bring this out and bring it out, and it did finally come out. But I'm not really sure where I'm going with this, but it was an attack. That him getting pulled over by that state trooper pulling into where he was already his destination was an attack. And it was
karma. It was karma.
Yes.
Not attack. Big difference. Big difference in the understanding if you say attack versus karmic retribution. The truth had to come out.
Well, I guess I kind of look at the karma retribution as I feel like he was attacked. That's why I look at it.
That state highway patrol, that traffic stop was pre-planned before his birth. That if his alcoholism got too far with the family that he had, that would come up for him to clear it and heal from it. Otherwise, He's not going to stay married, not going to have children, not going to have all those other things that come with being married and having to be responsible.
Gotcha. Well, he has recognized it, and it took me took me close to a year of just believing and moving forward with him to get him to a point to realize it.
What does he do for a job?
Right now, he's working as a housekeeping in an it's a program. It's a living center for mentally retarded people. It's a very small one. Both him and his wife actually started working this past week.
Okay, so it's a new job. What has he mainly done before that?
Well, before that, he was just doing different odd jobs. He was in the restaurant doing cooking and stuff for a while. And that, I believe, is where he really started getting consuming alcohol.
Pretty common for a lot of restaurant people to use alcohol to get down at the end of the night. Very common.
Well, he was also getting to a point where he was winning bets on being able to drink up people under the table with tequila.
And that just says how bad his drinking issue was.
Right.
Yeah.
And so far,
so let me help you out here.
Yeah.
Let me help you out here because we got to end the show here in just a minute. Do you have any extra money where you might be able to invest into a business with your son and daughter-in-law?
No, I don't. But it's something that is both of them are very, very powerful. They're very powerful.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe you need to put together a little investment community. And this is not to save your daughter-in-law or your child. It's to invest into the community that you live in. There are a lot of things that if a right business person can come to your community and somebody can make a fortune. You know your community's ripe to have fortunes made under it. You just need people who know the community and management.
I do believe that's going to happen for them.
And I'm telling you to actively be a part of it. Actively start communicating and networking with people who could be an investor and to think, what is it really going to take to change and modernize your town?
I will, because it definitely needs to be modernized.
Yeah. All right, brother, I got to let you go. It's the end of our show. Right. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, everyone. I just want to remind everybody, we've got our special retreat coming up at the Naniki facility in Barbados, where you'll be able to go and learn Qigong with Chris Chappelle, as well as be a part of Universal Citizens Healing System, where you'll experience flotation chambers, pulsed electromagnetic therapy, hyperbaric chambers, and the Lucia light, and some deep regenerative body work. All right, everyone, look forward to seeing you this coming Thursday for our next show. Thanks a lot, everyone.